I'm back in the studio and I'm here moving some lights and I have to move some pipes because I'm going to utilize those pipes once again like I did in passing ships. And here we are. I've set up a boom pole, the Cardellini clamp with the grip head and super clamp. I only have 3 boom poles set up this time because I don't need as much and everyone's going to be in a more confined space compared to last time so I can get closer. I'll be hanging magic arms off of each boom pole except for one, just to kind of utilize the space a little more. Here's a look at the magic arms that I used. I have 4 magic arms total, 2 long ones and 2 short ones, and I just kind of put shock mounts on each of them. Here we are, setting up the cameras. That wall to the right is going to be moved in a little more. I'm also helping the cameraman because we're trying to figure things out as best we can. We're trying to make every camera match as best as possible since we have an FS7 and 2 FS5s, so they kind of have a little different look. But this is the whole set basically. We need to turn those lights on, of course. We diffused this one because it was too harsh. But yeah, it's basically the same, and these are staying on because he just wants something in the background, uh, just for the heck of it, I guess. And they're like at 6,000 Kelvin or something, 6,500 maybe. Compared to these are at 3,000. So we're running tungsten on this side, and this is like, bam, looking at the sun. So this is the set, and they've done a good job making it look good. And I think it's gonna work very well. I like the fact that the mics and Ling can like hang lower compared to passing ships. And I don't really need to hide it. So, I mean, I do need to hide it, but like, I don't need to hide it like in such an intricate way. It's basically pointing at the person that needs to talk to. So that's a great positive there. The way I've set this up is probably more or less jank, depending how you want to view it from passing ships. But I have a bar also. I've extended it a little further down, and that's being connected to 2 boom poles. And then I'm using magic arms from the boom poles to actually like send other mic signals to the other people here, just so I have like less cables hanging or less stuff hanging from the ceiling. I could have done like a bunch of those, but then if I need to adjust it, I couldn't really. Yesterday we had to move like the whole tables back over here just so I can freaking adjust that, and it was kind of a pain. So that's the reason why I did this, and this is the most ideal spot to do it at. Today I am running the Zoom F8n Pro, and I've decided to run 32-bit float because this is a D&D match, so we don't know how loud they're gonna be. So I just thought for safety we'll do 30-bit float, and it's gonna be long sessions, so it should be all right. I have 2 outputs here. I have the sub out, and I have the 2 line main outs here being sent to the camera. So the sub is being sent to the center camera, and then the 2 mains are being sent to the left and right over there. We're running 2 FS5s and 1 FS7 because people checked out the FS5s and we have FS7 left. So we just had to use that. I think the only difference would be the lens difference. These are using the Zeiss lenses, and these are using broken nons. So, you know, whatever. I have 2 wireless monitor going on. One's from the FS5, which is this one, then the FS7, and the FS5 is this one. So it's just for me to look at. No other real reason. I don't really need it either, but I thought I'd just, you know, connect it. This is running through mains power, so it's being plugged in, and that's running out into the Holly Land here. And this is running through mains here as well, but then I'm running a battery just because I kind of don't want to use so much outlets, and it's not that important, so like I don't really care about it. Jumping back to the mixer, you probably noticed that it's on a Joby arm, whatever, I forget what it's called. I haven't used this in forever, but I didn't want the mixer to lay flat and I can't see it, so I just kind of wanted something to tilt it up, and I couldn't figure anything out, so I was like, hey, I could use this. The arm is not strong enough to hold it, but that's fine. I don't need it to stand high, I just need it to angle, and that's literally all I needed it for. So I've set up my laptop here, and I'm just gonna be monitoring while kind of doing other stuff really, because we're gonna be sitting here for 11 hours, just like, we won't be doing anything. The cameraman, they just press record and that's it, and let it go. So every few hours we're gonna take a break, and then like they can dump footage, and I can do stuff here. So I'm going to implement these for the PAs. They're going to be transferring the footage during each break. These are 3D printed SD card cases. And they could just put them in here, and then once they're ready to dump it, put it in here. Once they're finished dumping it, they put it in the format. Then it could be a much more safer process in which we know which ones to use and not to use. So here's our board. I've never played D&D before, so this is literally my first experience with D&D. But we have 3 people here, 2 people there. The chairs are not there because I had to adjust my mics yesterday. And then Dungeon Master there. We have a mic here. This is input 1. That is the HC22. Then you have the MKH60 for input number 2. Then input number 3, the Rode NTG3. That's for Dungeon Master. Then the MKH60 here for this person here. The HC15 for the center person. And then the MKH60 for this final person. And it's going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just kind of from left to right, basically. So here are XQD cards. We literally just pulled all the XQD cards from every FS7 kit because we're kind of making sure that they will stay in the actual cards instead of formatting them after each episode, because it does take a little time to dump it. So we just took that, we just labeled it, tape over it. Cam 3, episode 4 here. Camera 3, episode 5, card 2. And this is supposed to be card 1, but I wrote card 2 for some dumb reason. And this is Cam 3, episode 4, part 2. So the FS7 was just a Cam 3, so they only use XQDs, so that's how we did that. So you see here, this microphone is constantly moving because we have a venting system in the studio that it blows air constantly. And it's just blowing onto this specific mic the entire time. So I put a baseball on there to help it. You still kind of heard it. And the next episode, I actually switched to the dead cat thinking it would be better, but it actually wasn't. So I went back to the baseball. So here's my first setup here. I have my phone running the F8n Pro, just so I can look at the levels there. It's a little bit easier looking at that than the actual mixer. And then I have my 2 monitors set up here, just so I can look at that in case I want to, see what's going to happen. My idea was I was going to actually mix this while they're doing it, but it's pretty spontaneous and I don't know who's going to talk. So in the end, I actually didn't mix at all, and I just left it the way it was, and it sounded pretty good. So I switched my setup where I would actually look at the third camera to the X8n Cine, and I could actually view all 3 cameras at the same time, making sure everything sounded good. And that's how I ended up at the end. So there's something in the F8n Pro that I like, and it's when you continuously record and it creates new tracks, it actually doesn't restart the timer, and you can see how long you've actually been recording for. So here we have episode 1, it's at take 5, and we've been recording for 1 hour and 48 minutes, and that's pretty good. On my FAN, it would just restart the timer every time. So here we are actually at the final episode, and I'm just kind of getting as much B-roll as I can before we finish, because once we tear it down, they're going to be all gone.
Destroy this lexicon. Will will it fuck up a bunch of shit? Secondary question, can I take the lexicon as my own and not let anybody else touch it?
The Dutch is dead.
Damn straight. Okay, how far away am I from the
Damn dead.
lexicon?
You were next to it. You're on the platform.
So this TV is actually, I think, the pieces that moves. They just did a digital form of it. So the director, he's going to be editing it in and actually recreating what happened. So yeah. So it's the next day now, and I decided to pack things up today instead of the night before because we're all pretty tired, and I don't want to leave at midnight and security be like, "Who are you?" So I'm packing everything up. I'm taking everything down, and it went pretty quick except for when I got to the cables. I made a huge rat's nest that literally took me super long to make, and I had to make an Instagram post about it, but whatever, It was my doing, and it's only 6 cables. Oh, not really. It's like more like 10, but yeah.